Okay, I promised that I would make a little video about how to go about submitting the initial homeworks, and so this is my stab at that. So the first thing I have is I have a Bitbucket, well, a Git repository that I've created that I've named MDCRC66521 homework Brian Chapman. I guess I asked you to do it as Chapman Brian. And I'm going to make a directory, M0, that I'm going to store my homework in for module 0. And then I'm going to come over here. This is the repository that I've created for the class where I have the homework assignment in. And I'm going to copy over the markdown file that is part of, that contains the homework assignment. And I'm going to copy it to this new directory that I've created in this other repository. Now this is a markdown file. A markdown is a type of markup language that allows you to use simple text characters to indicate typeset rendering. So one of the reasons I wanted you to use, let me change directory to M0. One of the reasons I wanted you to install Atom is that Atom has a nice markdown functionality. So as I open that in here, I got 2 copies there. This is showing me how I mark up the image. And so in this case, a line starting with a pound symbol means like a level 1 heading, 2 pound symbols means a level 2 heading, and so on. The double asterisks will translate into bold face font, and then I have some lists, and this creates links to files, and this explanation, this syntax right here is for linking images. So I can come up here to packages, markdown preview, and I can toggle the preview. So let's start off with fulfilling the requirements for problem number 1, and that's showing you that, demonstrating that I've got Git installed. So in this case, I would do git help, and this is what comes out of it. So I'm going to do a snapshot of that, and on Windows, oops, wrong program, Windows has grab, and so I'm going to use that. I'm going to capture the window, choose window. Okay, and now I'm going to save this to, okay, I'm where I want it, so I want to call it my Git. And so then I can change the homework. It's looking for a mygit.png. And so I can change this to a TIFF. Well, you see, if we look over here at the, well, let me go through this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this new homework assignment. And I'm going to add the TIFF file that I created for it. And I'm going to commit that partial solution to homework for module 0. And I'm going to push that up. And then that should go up to Bitbucket if everything works right. And if I come up here to my Bitbucket repositories, let's see, let's go to Bitbucket. Go to my homework, and I go to source, and see now I have M0, and I've got the homework and the TIFF file. That would be sufficient for the homework. Well, there is kind of an issue of it's not showing me my image in the preview, and that's a limitation of kind of the software here, that the markdown preview doesn't know how to render TIFFs. So a nice package to have is called ImageMagick, and you can install it through various sources. I think from Windows you probably want to download it. If you got the Mac, I'm pretty sure it can be installed with Homebrew. But it comes with a function convert that will let me take my Git file and convert it to, say, a PNG file. See, now I've got a PNG file. The advantage of the PNG is it's compressed. You see that it's roughly half the size of the TIFF image. So now I can change my file to have a PNG, and see now that shows up in the preview. And I can remove my git TIFF from the repository with the git remove command, and I can add my git.png, and I can say changed from TIFF to PNG. I can now push this up, and if I go to my repository and I refresh this, oh, it just barely got there. So something's not happy. Now see, now I have the mygit.png, and if I click on this, I got my homework, and the markdown, I'm not exactly sure why the markdown isn't oh, so the markdown here is still saying my TIFF. Did I not? Okay, so that's because I forgot to add that if I go to my git status, so I modified my homework file, but I forgot to add it, so I get add m0. I need to commit it. Forgot to add changed homework file. I can push this up there. So now it's up there. Let me go back up to here. When I'm browsing the Bitbucket, it's showing me which commit that I'm looking at, and you see that's an older one. So I want to come to the newer one, and now I'm seeing the PNG file that's getting rendered. Just one other little note I wanted to make. Let me go to the repository for the homework for the class. And if I go to the source, go to modules, in this case M1 Introduction to Python, lecture materials. So I have this Introduction to Programming Markdown file. And in this case, instead of using the Markdown syntax for inserting an image, which is right here, in this case, I inserted HTML. The HTML allows me to specify the size that I want in the file, in this case 500 pixels, which Markdown doesn't. The problem with that is that Bitbucket Markdown rendering doesn't allow insertion of straight HTML, which Markdown in general does. And so that's why these images are not getting rendered in the preview here.